In today's video, I'll be making old Schoolhouse cinnamon rolls. I'll get started by measuring my ingredients and create a taste from two separate recipes. I'm sure both recipes call for regular milk, but we only have vanilla flavored almond milk, so let's see what happens. I've microwaved the milk until I see a film on top. I'll remove from the heat and add the salt, sugar, and shortening. To make the dough a little sweeter than usual, I'm going to mix 3 tablespoons of cinnamon sugar into the liquid. Now I'm allowing the eggs to reach room temperature as well as regulate the water I'm going to use to dissolve the yeast. As you can see, I get in a little bit of a hurry and probably add too much water to my yeast. Normally I put the yeast and then add the water. It worked out, but it's easier the other way. After the mixture cools off, I add the yeast and water and stir it a little bit more. I beat the eggs pretty good. I'm getting my raisins ready to add. I'm going to microwave those in water and get them soft. Checking on my raisins, making sure they're doing good. As you see, I use a whisk until it starts getting thick. I do have a baking tip. Before adding more flour to my container, I like to use all that's in there, and any kind of all-purpose flour usually works well for me. Time to get rid of this whisk and switch over to a spatula. It's starting to thicken up, and we're going to get rid of the spatula and empty the dough onto a pastry sheet. I'm going to put flour onto the pastry sheet and then pour the soft mixture right on top of that. I normally mix this in 2 separate batches, but decided just to put it all on the pastry sheet at one time and work the flour in together. Probably should have just stuck with 2 separate batches. Anyway, it worked out. Make sure you keep your hands and fingers really covered in flour. I'm going to drain our raisins. Because I'm always trying to work in such a tight area, I decided to roll the second ball of dough on top of the first one, so I used a parchment paper for that. That's working better. Coming up, you'll see where I use a cookie cutter to make the cuts of my dough. I first thought I would try to make square cinnamon rolls, but you'll see later I change it up. And it's a little easier to level things up just by using one hand. Soft. That bottom one's gonna melt. Okay, that looks like that's good. Okay, I was struggling. I couldn't find my pastry brush. So I'm just gonna mix this up. Perfect. I have my raisins strained and they're soft to the touch because when you cook them, they're not gonna have enough time to get to that texture. So go ahead and do that in the microwave and make them, soft. In the next frame, you'll understand why I was panicking because I couldn't find the pastry brush. Who knows, we may put some of that butter on top of these. I'll just let you know in a minute. Push, bring these to the edges. Right here. We're going to push. What you do is come out here on this edge and sealing. And how you're going to sealing is you're going to wiggle here. This is going to be busting out with goodness. That's looking really good. Just gonna fold him over and pat him down. He's gonna be good every bite. Yeah, I think maybe if we pull that top here's where it starts getting very messy. So you just have to monitor and adjust and make it your own. Nobody's going to care. It's going to taste the same. That's what my mother always used to say. A little side note, one of the recipes that I've actually used here was that of my mother's. She just did a dinner roll, and so I took her recipe and combined it with the old Schoolhouse recipe that's going around on Facebook right now and put all this together. As I work my way through the recipe, the closer to getting finished, the more uniform the rolls actually look. I guess if I did 3 and 4 batches, they probably would be a little more consistent. But anyway, we're getting it done. As I finish and start to clean up, you'll notice here in a couple seconds that I only have a few ingredients left, so it came out pretty even. Then, what do you do now? After working with these, they really cooled off, and so I carried them over to the fireplace to sit, and in order for them to rise and get ready for the oven. And anyway, thanks again everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, just let me know. And I guess these are going to be cabin rolls and not necessarily schoolhouse rolls, because I'm going to take them to work.